What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video, and it's the last NXT before it runs against All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. What will the WWE do to make sure viewers tune in next week? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the good, the bad and the damn right ugly for the 25th September 2019 edition of NXT, as well as a recap, and the latest wrestling news, including The Fiend on Fox, Stone Cold Steve Austin can wrestle one more match, will The Rock show up on SmackDown's 20th anniversary show, AEW's UK Blunder, and Vince McMahon was fully against bringing in a top WWE superstar. Let's waste no further time and get straight into the recap, as NXT is coming to you from Full Sail University, with Nigel McGuinness, Mauro Ranallo, and WWE Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix calling the action. There's highlights from last week's NXT debut on the USA Network. The Undisputed Era are seen showing off their championship belts, 4 wrestlers, 4 titles. The first match of the night sees Dominik Dijakovic vs Keith Lee. It's a fairly lengthy match that Lee wins after executing a jackhammer. There's a hype video for Candice LeRae's title match with NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler next week. Highlights from last week's street fight between Killian Dane and Matt Riddle that ended in bedlam after the Imperium attacked them and the NXT locker room emptied to counter their invasion. The Street Profits hype up their NXT Tag Team title match next week, promising to become 2-time champions. Next up, a women's singles match as Tainara goes up against Dakota Kai. Dakota flattens her with the GTK, getting the Duke. Kathy Kelly announces that the Imperium will face Kushida and a mystery partner tonight. There's a hype video for Johnny Gargano, and the NXT announcers remind the fans that there will be 3 big title matches next week. Next up is a street fight between Matt Riddle vs Killian Dane, and the winner will become the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. Unlike last week's slobber knocker, this match goes to a finish when Riddle locks Dane in the Fujiwara armbar and Dane taps out. After the match, NXT champion Adam Cole shows up to mock Riddle and tell him he'll never beat him. Riddle locks Cole in the armbar until the rest of the Undisputed Era run in for the save. Next up is Kaden Carter vs Rhea Ripley. Ripley lands the Riptide on Carter, making short work of her. Next up, tag team action next, as Oney Lorcan teams up with Danny Burch to take on Everrise. Chase Parker and Matt Martell put in a valiant effort, but an elevated DDT from Lorcan and Burch ends it. Next up, Raul Mendoza goes up against Cameron Grimes. There's no squash match here, as Mendoza gives Grimes a tough match, but ultimately counts the lights after Grimes hits the leaping double stomp. And the main event as the Imperium go up against Kushida and the Fashion Police. Tyler Breeze and Fandango prove up to the task, helping Kushida until he rolls up Marcel for the victory. But where's Volta from the Imperium? Turns out he's waiting for Kushida and waylays him while Kushida is celebrating on the entrance ramp. But that was a quick recap of NXT. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? First, let's look at the good as number 1, more good wrestling. If you enjoy a product that focuses on wrestling rather than endless backstage skits and lengthy in-ring promos, NXT once showed that they're the brand for you. Some good matches tonight just like last week, whether it was the women's matches, the street fight, or the main event. Number 2, good build up for next week. Next week is a huge show for NXT, and some fans are likening the star-studded event to an unofficial NXT takeover, with a number of big title matches and other matches designed to bring in the fans. NXT did an all-round good job tonight building up next week's show, whether it was through promos, hype videos, or the announcers. But that was the good. What about the bad? Amateur Hour. There's no doubt that the audience at Full Sail University is an enthusiastic one who are behind the NXT product, but how longer can the WWE continue producing shows in a bingo hall-like venue? Yes, the WWE is making a smart move by not putting NXT in various arenas every week, but they should consider finding a larger venue nearby if they truly want to promote NXT as equal to Raw and SmackDown. Thankfully again, there was nothing even remotely ugly about NXT this week. Overall, it was definitely a good follow-up from last week's show, and they're hyping next week's show to be even better, but the problem remains of casual fans just not knowing who many of these wrestlers are. Unfortunately, maybe the only way to do that is to bring wrestlers onto SmackDown or Raw and hyping it through there, otherwise they might remain in obscurity. let's move on to the news as our first story looks at The Fiend on Fox. WrestleVotes tweeted an interesting story involving Bray Wyatt's devilish double. As something nobody can deny, a person who works for Fox has directly told me face to face they would like Bray Wyatt on SmackDown. However, it looks like he's going to remain on Raw, with Paul Heyman being a gigantic fan of his. Not confirmed, but we'll see. The beauty of Bray Wyatt's character is that he could show up anywhere in the WWE and it would make sense, particularly if the WWE continues promoting him as someone who can materialize out of thin air. However, with the WWE rumored to be putting some major star power on the blue brand, they shouldn't strip down Raw, especially considering how it's been struggling in the ratings. Next up, Stone Cold Steve Austin can wrestle one more match. After stating his in-ring career is over, Stone Cold Steve Austin seems to have had a change of heart. During an episode of the Stone Cold Show, the Texas Rattlesnake commented, "For the last couple of weeks, down there at the Raw reunion in Tampa, down there at the Madison Square Garden show at Monday Night Raw, people always ask me, 'Hey man, you're still in really good shape. You got one more match left in you?' And I tell them, I say, it's a tough thing to think about. Physically, would I be able to have one more match? Yes, most definitely, and I can make it to that match without being injured. Although the risks are always there, just because I think of all the surgeries I had where I had spinal stenosis and getting that bone spur taken off my spinal cord, I'm in a good place. Nerves are feeling a lot better than they used to. So in theory, could I have a match? In theory, yes. If Austin could return for one more match, it could be a huge one and one of the biggest draws in recent WWE history. Austin vs Lesnar, Austin vs Reigns, or Austin vs The Fiend could be huge. With any luck, the WWE will make the wise choice and avoid anything like Austin vs Jonathan Coachman. Remember that debacle? Then again, Austin vs Jon Moxley sounds pretty intriguing too. That'll probably never happen though. Next up, will The Rock show up unannounced on SmackDown's 20th anniversary? A 20th anniversary celebration of the show named after the People's Champion needs The Rock's presence. It's a no-brainer, but so far, The Rock's name hasn't been mentioned, presumably because he's so busy with his acting schedule. However, Ringside News noted a story in Ad Age that Fox and the WWE have several surprise guests lined up. While it makes sense to hype a Rock appearance, the WWE may feel surprise outweighs the promotional value, or they may be waiting on a last-minute confirmation from the Great One. Next up, AEW's UK Blunder. Last night, UK All Elite Wrestling fans were given notice that AEW's weekly television show AEW Dynamite won't be airing live. That might be understandable, as we get it, sometimes it's hard for a company that's just up and starting to air a live show overseas. However, that wasn't what got some fans' blood boiling. It was the fact that the show will run 4 days after in the UK on ITV, after it's aired in the US on Wednesday. They tweeted, "Announcement: ITV is to show brand new weekly wrestling show AEW Dynamite on free-to-air television from next month. The run will start with the full 2-hour show on ITV4 on Sunday 6th October at 8:20, followed by a 1-hour highlights program on ITV on Monday 7th October at 11:45. Shows will run sequentially leading up to pay-per-view events, including before 9th November Full Gear, so more details including subsequent schedule information to follow soon." Now, in an age where wrestling spoilers are plastered over YouTube and social media just moments after the event, this could be disastrous for AEW. UK fans are either going to find illegal broadcasts on the internet to watch live on TNT, or just maybe not watch at all. They can also get a subscription to Fight TV, but that's if they want to pay for it, as opposed to free television on Sunday. We don't think that there's going to be many wrestling fans who are getting up at 8 AM on a Sunday to watch it, and the highlights will air at the same time that most WWE pay-per-views air once every month. So for at least one Sunday of the month, they're probably going to get hardly any viewers. What a disaster. Next up, a few tidbits. Stone Cold Steve Austin has been confirmed for the 5th October SmackDown on Fox. Velveteen Dream's injury status is currently listed as day-to-day. WWE superstar Tucker of Heavy Machinery reports his ring gear was stolen when his car was broken into. And Chris Jericho reportedly has filed for the trademark protection on his catchphrase,
"Oh, a little bit of the bubbly."
Yep, we knew that was coming. And our last story today, Vince McMahon was fully against bringing in Samoa Joe. Boy, If you want to talk about wrestlers who WWE dropped the ball big time on, look no further than the resident Samoan submission machine Samoa Joe. Ever since joining the promotion in 2015, he has proved to be a superstar that has it all: sublime wrestling skills, an unstoppable monster you can push, and not only that, but tremendous mic skills. However, Joe revealed on Fightful.com that Vince vehemently opposed me being in WWE. Oh, there were tons here for years. Vince vehemently opposed me being in the WWE. He didn't know me, wasn't familiar with me, and now we have a great relationship. Everything's working fine. I think he's just realized he already bought it, so we might as well use it. Now, like I said, with every partner I've ever worked with, it's all about time and understanding. And we've had some time and we've had some understanding, and it's working out pretty well. While Vince has shown confidence in him now, will he ever be confident enough to put the WWE Championship around his waist? Well, let us know in the comments, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.